Today, I am looking at the top 10 best-selling games for the original Sony PlayStation. The PlayStation, codenamed PSX, abbreviated as PS, and later PSOne, is a home video game console developed and marketed by Sony Computer Entertainment. It was released in Japan on the 3rd December 1994, followed by North America on the 9th September 1995, Europe on the 29th September 1995. As a fifth-generation console, the PlayStation primarily competed with the Nintendo 64 and the Sega Saturn. The PlayStation signaled Sony's rise to power in the video game industry. It received acclaim and sold strongly. In less than a decade, it became the first computer entertainment platform to ship over 100 million units. Its use of compact discs heralded the game industry's transition from cartridges. The PlayStation's success led to a line of successors, beginning with the PlayStation 2 and a smaller and cheaper model, the PSOne, both in 2000.
Careful, I'm no rookie.
Metal Gear Solid is a 1998 action-adventure stealth video game developed and published by Konami for the PlayStation. It was directed, produced, and written by Hideo Kojima, and follows the MSX2 video games Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2: Solid Snake, on which Kojima also worked. It was unveiled at the 1996 Tokyo Game Show and then demonstrated at trade shows, including the 1997 Electronic Entertainment Expo. Metal Gear Solid received critical acclaim. It sold more than 7 million copies worldwide and shipped 12 million demos. It scored an average of 94 out of 100 on the aggregate website Metacritic. MGS helped popularize the stealth genre and featured in-engine cinematic cutscenes. It was followed by an expanded version for PlayStation and Windows, Metal Gear Solid, Integral in 1999, and a GameCube remake, Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes in 2004. Tomb Raider is a 1996 action-adventure video game developed by Core Design and published by Eidos Interactive as the debut entry in the Tomb Raider media franchise. It was first released on the Sega Saturn, followed shortly by the PlayStation and other formats. The character Lara Croft was based on several influences, including Tank Girl, Indiana Jones, and Hard Boiled. The 3D grid-based level design, innovative for its time, was inspired by the structure of Egyptian tombs. Tomb Raider was praised for its innovative 3D graphics, controls, and gameplay. The game went on to win several industry awards and is considered to be one of the greatest video games ever made. It is also the 9th best-selling game for the PlayStation, with 7.1 million units sold worldwide, and it remained the best-selling title in the Tomb Raider franchise until the 2013 reboot. Crash Bandicoot 3: Warped is a 1998 platform game developed by Naughty Dog and published by Sony Computer Entertainment. It is the third game in the Crash Bandicoot video game series following Crash Bandicoot 2: Cortex Strikes Back. Warped received universal acclaim, according to review aggregator Metacritic. Crash Bandicoot: Warped was lauded by critics, who noted a high quality in many areas, including gameplay, graphics, and audio, and the game has been considered one of the best video games of all time. It went on to sell over 7.13 million units, making it one of the best-selling video games for the PlayStation. In Japan, the game surpassed the sales of its two predecessors and became the first non-Japanese PlayStation title to sell over 1 million copies in the country. Crash Bandicoot 2: Cortex Strikes Back is a 1997 platform game developed by Naughty Dog and published by Sony Computer Entertainment. It is a sequel to Crash Bandicoot and is part of the Crash Bandicoot series. Cortex Strikes Back received positive reviews from critics and is widely considered to be superior to its predecessor. Much of the praise went to the game's graphics, controls, and music, while criticisms focused on the trial-and-error gameplay, lack of level variety, easy boss levels, and lack of innovation as a platform game. The sequel title became the 7th best-selling PlayStation game with 7.58 million copies sold worldwide. A remastered version was included in the Crash Bandicoot N Sane Trilogy Collection, released on the PlayStation 4 in June 2017, and ported to other platforms in June 2018. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, named as the Sorcerer's Stone in the United States, is a 2001 video game developed by Argonaut Games and published by Electronic Arts for the PlayStation. Based on the story of the same name, and through working with Warner Brothers, the game also features the sets and environment from the film adaptation. Electronic Arts was granted rights to the Harry Potter games in August 2000. The PlayStation version was developed by Argonaut as an action platform game, which integrated a 3D environment into its gameplay, using the game engine they had previously developed for the Croc games. The game received mixed reviews, with critics saying that the game's license would be the only thing to draw in fans. The PlayStation version sold 8 million copies worldwide, becoming Argonaut's best-selling game.
Get ready.
One. Fight.
Tekken 3 is a 1997 fighting game developed and published by Namco. It is the third installment in the Tekken series and the first game built on the Namco System 12 arcade hardware. Plot-wise, the game takes place 20 years after Tekken 2 and features a largely new cast of characters, including the debut of several now staple characters such as Jin Kazama, Ling Xiaoyu, and Brian Fury, and adds sidestepping ability to every character in-game. Tekken 3 was ported to the PlayStation in 1998 with additional content, including a beat-em-up mode called Tekken Force. Tekken 3 maintains the same core fighting system and concept as its predecessors, but with an added emphasis on the third axis by allowing characters to sidestep in or out of the background. The game was a major hit for both arcades and consoles, selling 35,000 arcade units and 8.36 million PlayStation copies worldwide, making Tekken 3 the fifth best-selling PlayStation game. Final Fantasy VIII is a 1999 role-playing video game developed and published by Square for the PlayStation console. It is the 8th main installment in the Final Fantasy series. Set on an unnamed fantasy world with science fiction elements, the game follows a group of young mercenaries, led by Squall Leonhardt, as they are drawn into a conflict sparked by a sorceress named Edea Kramer, who seized control of a powerful military state. During the quest to defeat the sorceress and the forces manipulating her, Squall struggles with his role as leader and develops a romance with one of his comrades, Rinoa Hartilli. Final Fantasy VIII was well received by critics. The game was a commercial success, grossing $151 million in its first day of release in Japan, and more than $50 million during its first 13 weeks in North America, making it the fastest-selling Final Fantasy title until Final Fantasy XIII. Final Fantasy VIII sold 8.6 million copies worldwide. Gran Turismo 2 is a 1999 sim racing video game developed by Polyphony Digital and published by Sony Computer Entertainment. It is the sequel to Gran Turismo, the second installment of the Gran Turismo series, and the first video game to be developed by Polyphony Digital. The game uses two different modes, Arcade Mode and Gran Turismo Mode. In the Arcade Mode, the player can freely choose vehicles they wish to use and can enable damage, while the Simulation Mode requires the player to earn driver's licenses, pay for vehicles, and earn trophies in order to unlock new and returning courses. Gran Turismo 2 features nearly 650 vehicles and 27 racing tracks, including rally tracks. Gran Turismo 2 was a critical and commercial success, selling 9.37 million copies worldwide. Final Fantasy VII is a 1997 role-playing video game developed and published by Square. The seventh main installment in the Final Fantasy series, it was released in Japan by Square and internationally by Sony Computer Entertainment, becoming the first game in the main series to have a PAL release. Development began in 1994, originally for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. After delays and technical difficulties from experimenting with the Nintendo 64, Square moved production to the PlayStation, largely due to the advantages of the CD-ROM format. Veteran Final Fantasy staff returned, including series creator and producer Hironobu Sakaguchi, director Yoshinori Kitase, and composer Nobuo Uematsu. The title was the first in the series to use full-motion video and 3D computer graphics, featuring 3D character models superimposed over 2D pre-rendered backgrounds. Final Fantasy VII received widespread commercial and critical success, and sold over 10 million copies worldwide. Gran Turismo is a 1997 sim racing video game developed by Polis Entertainment and published by Sony Computer Entertainment. It was directed by Kazunori Yamauchi and produced by Shuhei Yoshida. It is the first game in the Gran Turismo series. Gran Turismo features 140 cars and 11 racetracks, as well as their reversed versions. Two Honda NSX cars from 1992 were included in the Japanese version, but were removed from the North American and European versions. There is also a 1967 Chevrolet Corvette and a 1998 Mazda Roadster, exclusive to the arcade mode. After 5 years of development time, Gran Turismo was well received both commercially and critically, shipping a total of 10.85 million copies worldwide, making it the best-selling PlayStation game, and scoring an average of 95% in Game Rankings aggregate, making it the highest-rated racing video game at the time of the site's closure in 2019. Many publications have deemed it one of the greatest video games of all time. The game has started a series and has spawned over 10 spin-offs and sequels. That is all for this video today. If you have made it this far, then I thank you. The first PlayStation console I had was the very first 1000 series model with the extra outputs in the back of the console, and the controller didn't even have analog controls yet. The first game I played was Jumping Jack Flash, a rather basic but very fun 3D platform puzzle game. My favourite game had to be Tomb Raider 2, whereas I had the first Tomb Raider game with my Sega Saturn. For my next Top 10 video, I will be covering the best-selling games for the Nintendo 64. Giving this video a like and subscribing really helps this channel get off the ground. I would also read every comment left and will take in any suggestions for future videos. Thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Here are some suggestions for some of my previous videos, and I will be releasing some new ones soon.